Now, a couple of weeks ago, I drove a Lotus Evora Sport 410. Lotus kindly invited me down to Cafe in the Machine to have a go in all of the models to give themselves a last goodbye to the Lotus range, to make way for something new and better. Now, the Evora Sport 410 was an amazing car. It was just so phenomenal on the road. I also did have a go in the Exige. Now, it's a car that I really wanted to have a go on track. Then I had a phone call from my mate Mark from Redline magazine. He said, "Sid, I'd like you to write something about these two cars and help me test for today. Also, we have Hethel to ourselves, so bring your camera out and do some skids." So here we are at Hethel, and we're going to do some skids and also some testing in both cars. So like, subscribe, because it's going to be a smoky one.
It's an end of the line for the Elise and Exige. Lotus have now got massive investments like no before. It means that the future is looking very bright, with all new models coming very soon. In the meantime, you can now have these final editions in the Elise with this 240. It's pretty much the same as the regular one, but with 20 extra horsepower thanks to an ECU upgrade. You get options of fancier paint colours and a new instrument display that's TFT. That familiar 1.8 litre Toyota supercharged engine propels the car from 0 to 60 in over 4 seconds, and the top speed is 147 miles per hour. The Exige Sport 390. Its 3.5 litre supercharged V6 produces more than its name suggests at 397 horsepower. Let's call it 400. Unlike the hardcore Exiges, this doesn't run the semi-slick, track-prepped Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2s. In favour, it has a much more road-usable Pilot Sport 4S. Like the Elise, it also gets a new instrument cluster, and you can choose some fancier paint colour choices. Anyway, let's see what these two are like when being thrashed. Kicking off with the Elise.
Right, you're going to have to excuse the way the cameras have been mounted because the Elise is so tiny and I really don't want to use GoPros because it just looks a bit amateurish. Anyway, the Elise 240 Sport. I'm at Hethel. I've been dreaming of coming to Hethel for such a long time and now I'm finally here. So, we're going to drive the car neat and tidy first. Nah, sod it, we're not. Let's just put it into sport mode, turn the ESC off. There we go, that's everything off. Drop it down a gear. And let that supercharged 4-cylinder sing. Nice. You're going to have to excuse the wind noise because obviously there's no roof. So, what makes the Elise so special? Well, it's just so, it's a cliche word, but it feels so pure. The steering is lovely. It's basically telepathic. And low 240 horsepower might not sound like much in today's standards. Trust me, it's enough. It definitely is enough. What's great about it is you're able to use every one of those horsepowers. And also it's one of those cars that is quite friendly to all skill sets. But it's the overall shape and chassis of the Elise as well. 25 years old, and what's nice is it doesn't feel an inch old because it just feels so mechanical, so pure. Right, this fast chicane bit, let's give it a whee! Oh, it just feels so friendly and up on its toes and just mid-engine sports cars, it shouldn't do stuff like that. But this one does, and it just feels so good. 100 mile an hour, the brakes, because it's so light, it's just brilliant. The pedal's right with you. It doesn't need carbon ceramic brakes. When it piles into understeer, it's so nice. You can just trim off the throttle. Oh look, there's a seagull. Whee! Right, this right-hander, second gear, off the gas, give it a flick, balance it off the throttle. Because it's supercharged, we've got so much grunt and we can power ourselves out of the corner. Through here, nice and flat. Oh, you can just ride the curves. It feels so good. On the brakes, nice. And, oh yeah. Yeah, Very nice. Oh. Don't think of this video as a review. Think of this as a song, a goodbye to the lovely Elise. But what a machine! You could do track days in it, or you could play the absolute yob. I'd rather play the yob. Oh, let's give it a flick. 90 mile an hour, lovely. One more lap, that's it, one more lap. Because we haven't really got much time and I need to drive that Exige, so, right. Yes, the steering's really good, yes, I know, to live with every day, it's not that great, but who cares? On a day like today where it's 25 degrees. Oh. Oh. Nice. Right. That's it for the Elise on track. I like it. I like it a lot. Let's move over to the Exige. So, Exige. Drove this on the road, I found it a bit too extreme. Now we're on a racetrack, we can see what this car's all about. This isn't the most hardcore extreme version of the range. There's a 420, 430 version or something. So this is sort of hardcore, but not so hardcore. GT3, but not GT3 RS. So you got sport race mode, business as usual. Let's just turn everything off because we just don't have bloody fucking time. Right, we're going to drive the car neat and tidy at the beginning. First off, you're just dominated by this V6. Oh, what you're amazed by is, I was going to say the aero and high-speed stability, but from that snap oversteer, there probably isn't any. God, it goes. This supercharged V6 Camry engine, it loves to rev and it's got plenty of punch. Oh, when you get it right though, oh, the rewards are just... there. They are just absolutely there. Whew. Whew. I think it's time we take these cars out on the road. I think we've got everything done here. Okay, so you've seen these two cars messing about around track, which is good because now I can calm down, relax myself and see what they're like on the road. Let's start off with the Exige. Well, it's definitely on the firm side. To live with, well, to be honest with you, it could drive you around the bend a little bit. Getting in and out of it is a bit of a pain. You can't see much out of the back. Doing 3-point turns is a bit of a nightmare because there's not much assistance from the steering and it can be quite loud to the point where you annoy quite a lot of people. And at this sort of money, I would like, you know, a stereo or sat-nav system that hasn't come straight out of Halfords. Okay, you get a nice cool TFT digital display here, but who are they kidding? I think it's safe to say that this Exige is more for the track and only for the track. And don't get me wrong, if that's all you want it to do, then perfect. But I think on the road, or to live with day to day is, well, a bit of a compromise. But come on, let's be honest. Someone who buys this, they're not going to use it as their only vehicle. They might have this along with 3, 4, 5 other cars. And I'll tell you one thing though, there is still a joy to be had on the road, but you've got to be in the mood for it. I must say, you have to be in that raging mood, because if you're not, you can get quite annoyed with it. But when you are in the mood for it, you get this. That V6, like I said in the Evora Sport 410, this is just, well, it has that same drama, that same soundtrack. Though one issue could be for emissions reasons. It seems to have all of the bark with the valves opening above 4,500 RPM, but then I suppose you don't want to upset people on the public road. But this thing is so loud that I think you might not get into certain track days. But hey, following it in the Elise was actually really cool, and hearing it and seeing it on the road and the way people responded was actually, well, people just love this car. I don't know, it must be a British thing. Every time I jump in something like a McLaren or an Aston Martin or a Lotus, people cheer for you. People want to, you know, root you on to driving this car with, I don't know, with a whole load of British passion. Whereas you wouldn't get that in a Porsche. And though this might be a bit jiggly around the road, and the ride is, well, let's be honest, quite firm, on certain B roads, you've got to be careful with certain bumps, because it does like to hop, skip and move around. It can be a tad nervous, but the faster you go, the better it gets. I'm going to give it one more bootful. Let me give it some more gas. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! That V6 is, yeah, I like a lot.
Conclusion then, there's not really any winners or losers in this test. In fact, it's more like a day out to understand and appreciate what the Elise and the Exige is all about. Yes, these cars have been getting on for quite some time, but still they reward driving pleasure like no other. Both are fantastic machines, and I am super excited to see what's in store of Lotus's future cars.